Chapter 72, In Stride. Vet's odd regimen of brutal physical training, combat drills, and sparring had been the best thing to happen to Aaron in a month. He might still be trapped in a coma or a dream, circling endlessly in a nightmare world, but at least now there was some structure that he understood. No one talked about magic, no one talked about power, no one asked him how he was feeling. They worked, and work made sense. Aaron's days followed a rhythm he could trust. He woke, he meditated briefly, guided, simple, and repetitive. He moved through a martial arts form that took nearly an hour, each motion precise and demanding. He ate, he ran, he sparred. If he wasn't sparring, he drilled forms again and again until his muscles shook and his thoughts quieted. They rested when they needed to, they ate when they were hungry, they slept when exhaustion made sleep inevitable. The glowing crystals were constant, their shifting colors painting the caverns in endless light. At first, the brightness made rest difficult. After training began in earnest, after Ryland and Orla had left, Aaron slept like he was dead. He woke sore every morning. He welcomed it. Pain meant here. Pain meant now. Vouet was correcting him, Joe, George, and Caleb, after a round of sparring. Caleb asked too many questions, odd, sideways ones that seemed to matter to everyone except Aaron. Vouet drew Caleb aside to work with him alone. Aaron stood and walked away. George caught up, resting a hand briefly on Aaron's shoulder. Aaron looked back and nodded. Good match, George said easily, matching his stride. Yeah, Aaron replied. You too. They headed toward the makeshift kitchen, 4 tables arranged in an L, sinks and stovetops between them. Aaron slid a prepared meal into an oven without thinking. You seem better, George said carefully. Like you're adjusting? Adjusting? Aaron echoed, a headache already swallowing his mind. The word meant something, and he knew that, but the meaning hovered just out of reach, like trying to remember a dream by staring directly at it. The harder he tried, the worse it blurred, and the worse it hurt. Yeah, George said. I wanted to ask you what happened exactly. When? Aaron asked. The room tilted. When Vouet brought you to Earth? Aaron tried to look at George, his vision blurred and shattered. From Aaron's perspective, the world spun and vanished. From George's, Aaron lifted off the ground. Lightning arced from the surrounding crystals into his body, violent and precise. Each strike ended in a sharp popping burst that started slow and multiplied until the sound became continuous. Crystals darkened as they fed him, one, then several, then dozens, until a wide ring around the camp was drained black. George didn't notice the others gathering as he retreated, didn't notice the sudden arrival of mages lining the halls behind them. Aaron vanished in a flood of power, not obscured, replaced entirely, a pulsing white silhouette where his body had been. Orla appeared at George's side and dragged him backwards without ceremony. The power didn't touch anyone else, even bending around them towards the source, hovering where Aaron had been. Inside the storm, Aaron was drowning in almost remembering, almost understanding, almost coming to life. Everything was fog, thick, smothering. He hated it with a ferocity that shocked him. Hated the blindness, hated the helplessness, hated the sense that truth was right there and utterly unreachable. A voice, his own but sharper, told him to accept it. Fight, it said. Burn it away. The question how barely formed before the answer arrived. Not in words, in understanding. He wasn't surrounded by power. He was power. He inhaled. The explosion that followed was not violent. It was absolute. Light and heat surged outward, annihilating the fog, the shadows, every barrier he hadn't known was there. Understanding slammed into its place, so completely it felt inevitable, as if he had always known and merely forgotten. He descended slowly to the floor. Power surged again, not outward, but inward, drawing energy from the darkened crystals as far as the eye could see. The caverns went nearly black. Silence fell, so total it felt oppressive. Then, slowly, faint colors returned. Dim at first, but alive. Rylan approached after some hesitation once Aaron was visible again. Are you all right? he asked. I am, Aaron replied, surprised by the certainty of it. Understand what you did? I do, Ryland stilled. Aaron continued. I removed the magic Emily placed on me. Ents, too. Some faint others. Aaron paused, searching for language that didn't exist. They weren't on my body exactly, but in my mind. They existed in the same way as a cancer, tainting me from within. Ryland's reaction was visible, even in the low light. She blinded my mind to things, Aaron continued calmly, his face pinched in pain. I cleared it. So you understand? Ryland asked, and this time there was worry beneath the curiosity. I think so. Aaron did not say what it had taken him to do that. He did not say that for several seconds he held enough power to birth the universe, or 1,000, that he could feel the weight of it, that he could do it again if it was required, and knew with absolute certainty that doing so without intent and purpose would destroy him just as thoroughly as standing on the surface of a star. Some knowledge didn't need to be shared. Some power demanded restraint, and Aaron finally understood both. Ryland stepped back and guided one of the judges to Aaron's side, his hand firm on her shoulder as if anchoring her to the moment. Orla and Vouette ushered the others away, back into the cavern, into the camp, leaving only the quiet weight of what happened. Aaron barely noticed. I thought, his voice cracked, the word collapsing in on itself. He swallowed and tried again. I thought, once I understood what was done to me, it would stop hurting. This is Judge Millar, Ryland introduced. The judge, Millar, knelt in front of him instead of sitting beside him. Her posture was calm and practiced. That's not really how healing works, she said gently. Aaron let out a short, broken laugh. Then how does it work? She hesitated. It takes time. Aaron's eyes unfocused, light traced beneath her skin, structured, deliberate, moving in patterns that felt meaningful in a way he couldn't quite grasp. Not blood, not breath, not a heartbeat, something else. And then the memories hit. Not softly, they tore through him. Emily's voice, steady, certain, pressing down on his thoughts. Forget, she said, and he did. Moments vanished, feelings dulled, decisions erased before he ever realized he'd made them. He remembered her crying too, quietly and alone, the guilt, the fear, the way she held him like she was afraid he might disappear if she let go. That hurt worse. Then his memories shifted. He was 10 years old, a string of lights scavenged from a closet, humming with power in his hands. Emily frozen in the doorway, already understanding more than he did. You don't want this. You shouldn't have this. Forget, she pleaded with him desperately. And he did. She took his hand and pulled him away. The scene fractured again. Their parents shouting. Emily stepping between them, pointing, commanding. Aaron watched as their parents, fell silent mid-breath, bending to the will of a child. There was no humor in it, only violation. Aaron folded forward, a sound tearing out of him that wasn't quite a sob and wasn't quite a scream. Millar's hands were on his shoulders, grounding him, steady and professional. Ryland spoke quietly and urgently. His sister manifested early, exceptionally early, a powerful voice, and without guidance or training. That should not be possible, Millar said in a whisper. Still calm, though something sharp was hidden beneath it. Her eyes never left Aaron. A voice with that strength would have been detected, recruited, trained, controlled. Their world is bound, Ryland explained, tightly, barely above a 1, perhaps a 1.2. He referenced a scale commonly used in Sanctuary, and Millar clearly understood. Her gaze flicked to him, brief but piercing, then returned to Aaron as he moaned, curling inwards on himself. Easy, she murmured, more to Aaron than the situation. Breathe. Stay here. She turned towards the former shaper. No wielder should have that kind of power on a first-tier world, she continued, more quietly now. Not without consequence. Ryland gestured at the wells around them. They are bound to something great, and it clearly was not without consequence. Millard glanced around, her eyes widening in horror and shock before landing on Ryland with anger and understanding. They are bound to a well? It wasn't truly a question. She knew that Rylan had done it immediately. Erin's breathing hitched. Another wave of memory surged. Her hands tightened just enough to remind him that she was there. Stay with me, she said firmly. She didn't look at Rylan when she spoke again, but her words were unmistakably for him. Whatever decisions were made here, whatever risks were taken, they have left scars that will not disappear simply because they are understood. Rylan nodded once. He didn't argue. Why? She wondered quietly to herself, not expecting a response, barely aware she had even asked. The Noctium, Rylan said carefully, is not a myth. Millar's jaw tightened. I am not some dull girl from one of your unexplored worlds, Shaper. I am a judge of the fifth trial from Sanctuary. Do not lie to me. It can be induced, Rylan continued, on bound worlds. The Shapers understand how. That got her attention. For a moment she looked at him fully, not angrily, not disbelieving, just assessing. Aaron whimpered, the sound cutting through the tension like a blade. Millar turned back to him immediately, all focus restored. Enough, she said softly. This isn't helping him. She shifted closer, lowering her voice, her presence firm and undeniable. You're safe. You're not going to be commanded any longer. No one is taking anything from you. Just stay with me. Aaron clutched Aaron clutched at her sleeve like a drowning man finding a handhold. I can't make it stop, he whimpered. No, she agreed, but I can help you endure it. She looked up at Rylan then, measured, restrained, professional to the core. I will assist him, she said, because he needs it. There was no forgiveness in her voice, no approval, only duty. She helped Aaron to his feet, steadying him as his legs trembled beneath him, and led him away from the camp through the darkened hallways. Rylan watched them go. For the first time, understanding had not brought relief. It had only made the weight more visible.